we go. Alright, I'm going to invite people to group. If your Discord name matches your RuneScape name, you'll get an invite automatically. If there is a difference, it might take us a few iterations just to get it through. So let's go down the list. I'll do a round of invites and then we'll start the explanation, because Vorago is an important boss to know about. Oh, I don't know about this Miss Misty character. Seems suspicious. Vizier Levi, you can't be invited because you're in PvP combat apparently. Yeah, I think just being in the wilderness can sometimes just get in the way of invites. Okay, that's at least the first round of invites done. I'm sure more people will be wanting to. Dung XP. Is Dung XP the account name of somebody in here? Alright. Okay, that's... 4? And devil. Alright, that is at least the first round of invites done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the explanation of the fight. There's Dumpster Cat in this channel.
Can't see him in here.
Oh, there he goes. Alright, good. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to run through the explanation. I've given as many ranks as I remembered to permissions to invite, so I would hope they would just cover the last few people joining. Vorago is a very mechanic-heavy boss. It is possibly the most mechanic-heavy boss that we fight, that we mass here in Boss Guild. And for that reason, we require people to be here in Discord, in voice, so that they can listen to calls, because doing this without any kind of voice calls is going to be very, very problematic. And there is one mechanic in particular where he reflects damage that it is very important to deal with properly, which is, again, the reason that we use voice. Okay, so before you even come to Vorago, there are a couple of things that you should consider when you are preparing your build, because you're going to have to deal with this reflect mechanic. First and foremost is that you must make sure that Auto Retaliate is turned off. Okay, Auto Retaliate will cause you to attack the boss when we do not want you to, therefore make sure that's off. And also you need to be able to stop attacking when we call it to. So what we will be saying when it is time for us to stop attacking is to say off, off, off. Off meaning stop attacking. It doesn't mean run away from Vorago for reasons that we'll cover in a bit. but we'll say off to mean stop attacking, so you must be able to stop attacking when we call it. The easiest and most reliable way to do this is to use the ability Cease. This is an ability that is found in the defensive ability book. It looks like a sword with a red circle and a line through it. If you activate this ability, then you will not automatically, you'll immediately stop any attacks that you're currently doing, and you won't attack again for at least 6 seconds. So if you've got the access to the ability Cease, that will vastly help you in stopping attacking when we call it to. There are a number of other ways in which you might be able to stop attacking, such as if you click to move. That will often interrupt a lot of abilities, but it's not perfect. There are some cases where you will continue to attack while moving, for example, so we strongly recommend that you use that Cease ability. Okay, once we've stopped attacking, we also want to make sure that no extra damage happens after we've stopped attacking. So, for example, if you have a God book in your pocket, it must be turned off. So, for example, if you have a scripture of if you have a scripture of Wen, or a scripture of Jas, or a book of Law, or an ancient book, or any of those kinds of things, you can have it in your pocket for the stats, but it must be turned off, because all of those will cause some hits of damage after you've stopped attacking. Okay, there are a few exceptions to pocket slot items that you're allowed to have active. Okay, those are any and all scrimshaws are perfectly acceptable because they don't cause hits of damage, as well as Erestor's Grimoire and the Scripture of Full. But given that we already have 22 people in group, and probably another 4 people in wanting invites because there's 26 people in Discord, it's not really going to be required for the DPS. So if you want to save the charge on your pocket slot item, you are perfectly welcome to. Okay. Also, things to consider when you're gearing up is familiars. Okay, so Vorago in fact does not take any damage from familiars, even reflected damage. Okay, there was a bit of a back and forth in previous weeks about exactly where this works, but yes, Vorago does not take any damage from familiars. If you want to bring a familiar that will increase your damage, your best bet is to bring a Nihil, because Vorago has very high accuracy. Very high defense, so you want as much accuracy as you can. Bring your most accurate weapons, bring a Nihil to increase the accuracy if you want. If you aren't concerned about bringing a familiar that will increase your damage, you are more than welcome to bring a Beast of Burden and fill it full of food, or any form of defensive familiar. Perfectly welcome to do. Okay, so that's everything that we need to consider when we're preparing. Okay, so make sure Auto Retaliate is off, make sure you've got access to the Cease ability, make sure that you've your pocket slot item is not active, and have an appropriate familiar. Okay, we expect this mass to take just over an hour. Okay, there's going to be a bit more explanation, so if you summon your familiar now, there's a possibility that it might run out before the end, so we will be reminding people before the last few kills to renew their familiars. Okay, for people who have never been to Vorago before, the instance is called the Borehole, and it is found to the northeast of the Falador Lodestone. There is a hole in the wall called the Borehole. You go in there, you hop over a few rocks, and you arrive at a big platform where you should hopefully see a lot of people, here on World 88. This is where we will be staging and getting ready. This is kind of like the preparation ground for going into the boss fight. The way that the fight works is that you will not be allowed in until you have completed an achievement for talking to Vorago. Okay, Vorago's big head is in the wall next to us, and what you need to do is you need to talk to him, and you need to run through, just spacebar through if you don't care about the story, but basically go through all of his dialogue. Okay, until you get the choice, are you sure you want to challenge Vorago, yes or no? Okay, once you've arrived at that choice, you will have completed an achievement called Challenging Chat. And then you will be allowed into Vorago instances. Okay, when you've got that choice, make sure that you do not click yes to challenge, because what that will do is it will basically send you into a Vorago fight. It will give everyone in the area a pop-up box that says, so-and-so has challenged Vorago, do you wish to join them? Okay, obviously, you don't want to do that for just anybody. You only want to be going in when it is me, Alsang, I'm the host of this session. Only go in when it says Alsang has challenged Vorago. If it says any other name, you don't want to click yes. If you accidentally click the yes, you want to teleport out, so that you don't get thrown into a Vorago fight with like 2 other people and not have a very good time of it. You can teleport out of Vorago instances, but it's still, something to be avoided, because when you go into a Vorago fight, when the fight starts, you will take 70% of your maximum health as damage. Okay, so if you're a normal player with around 10k health, you'll take 7,000 damage as we go into the fight. Now, this is actually very easy to deal with, because Vorago himself doesn't spawn for several seconds after the fight starts. Okay, so you can very easily eat up some food so that you get that health back, or if you want to go the slightly more interesting way of dealing with it, there is an ability called Transfigure. This is an ability in the Constitution ability book. It is the 4th ability. It is unlocked by killing mobs in God Wars Dungeon 1. Basically what it does is if you've got access to the ability, you can activate it before you take that damage, and it will completely heal you back up after we have dropped down. Okay. If you're going to be doing that method, I will be calling out when it is time to use the transfigure ability, but that is how the fight will start. Okay. That is everything that you need to consider before we fight Vorago. Now let's talk about Vorago himself. Okay, so Vorago is a fight in 5 phases, and a lot of them are very time-gated, which means that we can't simply make the fight end sooner by doing more damage. There are specific mechanics which need to be done. Thankfully, we have a wide selection of very talented ranks here in the Boss Guild who will be doing all of those jobs, so for the majority of you people, you will be just taking the role of DPS. Okay, you all need to stand around and do damage to Vorago, and that is your only real responsibility. As the fight goes on, there are a number of different attacks that Vorago will do, and it is important to know how to deal with these. So in phase 1, which of course is the first phase, Vorago only has 3 attacks that he can do. Okay, the first is a melee attack. We will be doing that against the base. Again, that's me. This attack will hit the base, it will hit anybody who is near the base, and it will hit anybody who is in melee distance of Vorago, even if you are behind Vorago. So for this reason, if you are new, we recommend that you do not use melee, because of course you'll have to stand in melee distance with Vorago, and that means that you will take some damage. So we strongly recommend that if you're new, you bring along mage or range. Okay, or if you really want to melee, you can use a halberd. But that's the first attack, easily avoidable just by not standing in melee distance with Vorago. The second and slightly more annoying attack that he does is a blue bomb. So this is a projectile that deals area damage, which will be targeted at the players that are the furthest away from Vorago. This is one of the reasons why Vorago is not an enemy that you can simply avoid by running away from him. Okay? If you're too far away, he has special attacks that he will specifically throw at you. So there are a couple of ranks who will be standing as far away as they can to take these blue bombs, okay, our bomb tanks. But what that means for the rest of the DPS is that you want to be standing in a sweet spot that is around 2 to 3 squares away from Vorago. Okay, if you're stood in this spot, you'll be far enough away that you won't take melee damage, and close enough that you won't take any magic damage, which is what the bombs do. Okay, so you can basically run through the entire fight without taking any damage at all, which is great. Were it not for the fact that he has a third special attack that he uses in the first phase. So this is called a red bomb. It targets one player, and there will be a big notification that comes up in the middle of your screen that says, Vorago has targeted you with a red bomb. Get to safety. Okay? When this message is on you, you must move away from everybody else, because this bomb will hit you for typeless damage, which means that you can't really use defensive abilities against it, and it will hit you for more damage the more allies are near you. If you're out on your own, okay, and this bomb hits you, it'll hit you for about 2,000 damage, which isn't very much. You can eat that back up in a single shot. If you're in the middle of the DPS pile and you're surrounded by like 20 people, you and all of them will be hit for 7k. Okay, you will not be making any friends, you'll be causing a lot of problems. So if you get that pop up in the middle of your screen, you absolutely must move out, away from people, let that bomb hit you, and then come back into the group. Okay, if you deal with it correctly, it's very, very little to deal with. If you don't deal with it, you're going to be causing a lot of problems for yourself. And possibly even die if you're not on enough health. Okay, that's phase 1. After phase 1, we get his health down, he jumps around a bit, does a little bit of damage that we can avoid simply by not being where he jumps, and then he goes into phase 2, which is the first phase that introduces that reflect mechanic that I mentioned earlier. Okay, what this mechanic is we will give you a call before he is about to do it. So we will be calling off, 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 everybody stop attacking. Everybody, stops attacking however they want. Ideally that would be using the cease ability because it's very reliable, but if you want to use another way, that's okay. We will stay off for about 10 seconds, and then we can just go back to attacking Vorago. Okay, he will do his full attack cycle twice in phase 2, so there'll be 2 instances of reflect, and at the end of the phase he does a special attack called Bring Him Down, whereby all that we need to do is spam click on Vorago, which will happen very quickly because there's lots of us, and then we have about 15 to 20 seconds where he just stays still, and we can do as much damage to him as we like, and everybody can use Soul Split to safely get all of their health back. So that's phase 2, very simple. Only most important point is that when we say off for reflect, it is very important that you do actually go off. After phase 2 is phase 3, and phase 3 has 6 different variations, which change every week. And the week that we are in, the variation is called Scopulous. What will happen is that Vorago will summon 2 large purple minions, okay? And all that we need to do to end the phase is to kill those 2 purple minions. They hit very hard, they hit with melee damage, so what everyone will be doing is that they will be standing around where they spawn, praying protect against melee, and just killing them as soon as they come out. Okay, and with 28 people in the group, they're probably going to die in a matter of seconds, so it should be very, very simple. Right. After phase 3, we come into phase 4, which is characterized by him doing a big waterfall attack. Okay, the arena is large and square, and in one of the 4 corners, he will put down a waterfall. This is a protective. We want to go and we want to stand inside the waterfall. Otherwise, after a few seconds, he will explode and he will deal about 9k damage to anybody who is not hiding behind a waterfall. Okay, so obviously you want to get in there as fast as you can. You can use movement abilities like Surge and Bladed Dive and Regular Dive to get behind that waterfall. And after that, it's back to the normal. You want to go and you want to stand near Vorago. You want to avoid attacking when he's going to do reflects. Okay, he's going to... Oh, wait, let me just check something. He's also going to use a new attack in phase 4 whereby he summons clones. So, for example, there are 28 people in the group. He will probably pick around 6 of them, and then he will summon a stone copy of that player. So, for example, he might summon a clone of Doomdine. I'm just picking names at random here, or he might summon a clone of Lexi. Okay, basically what this will be an NPC. It will be called Stone Lexi. Okay, and only Lexi will be able to attack that clone. So if you get a clone of yourself, what there will be is there will be a flashing arrow on the over the NPC, the enemy, to fight, as well as a flashing arrow on your minimap. Okay, all that you've got to do is you've got to kill that clone, and then you can go back to hitting Vorago. Okay. Once you have killed your own clone, you can then assist other people in killing of their clones, so it's not a completely gone thing if somebody can't kill their own clone, but it is always beneficial if you kill your own clone. He'll do a couple of other normal attacks. He will also he'll throw out some red bombs. And he'll do his normal things. He will usually end his cycle with another reflect, so we're calling off reflect, and then he'll do his entire cycle again. Okay, so there'll be waterfalls, there'll be clones, there'll be red bombs, there'll be reflects, and then we'll be able to finish the phase. Now, after we kill phase 4 and we go into phase 5, which is the last phase of the fight, it is quite different. Okay, phase 5 is a tug of war based on damage. Okay, whenever we do enough damage to Vorago, he will step backwards because the arena is long and thin. Whenever we do enough damage to him, he'll step backwards. Whenever he does enough damage to us, he'll step forwards. The aim of the phase is to push him all the way off the end of the arena. Okay, but we can't push him off with damage alone. We require finishing him off with an item called the Maul of Omens. Now, some of you might have known about this already, but basically, the Maul of Omens is an item that is made throughout the fight by some of the ranks. Okay, and the way that the fight ends is that a player will take the completed Maul of Omens and use it to finish off Vorago. Now, finishing off Vorago with the Maul of Omens is an achievement that is part of the Trimmed Completionist Cape, and we offer this for anybody who wants to. So I'm just going to say, if you would like to finish off Vorago with the Maul, or if you would like to do the Pet Rock achievement, which I'll talk about in a second, please type so in group chat. Not local chat, not friends chat, group chat. That gives us one place to look for people who want to complete these achievements. I will keep a track of them. When it is your turn to do an achievement, we will say so. If that person dies, it will go to the next person on the list. Okay. We let one person per... Well, obviously only one person per kill can do the Maul. We also let one person per kill carry the Pet Rock. This is an achievement to carry the Pet Rock, which is an item obtained from the Fremenic Quest series, throughout the entire fight. It's not a weapon. You can't do any attacks with it. Basically, it is an achievement to be carried throughout the fight. But because there's, 30 of us, it's really not that difficult for us to do so. However, of course, if a person who is carrying a Pet Rock gets a clone, that can cause some problems, which is why we say one person per kill. So the first kill for that will be Miss Misty. The first Maul on the first kill will be Doomdine. And let's just add these other names to my list. Okay, I've got some names down. We can keep adding to them as we go through. But that is the full rundown of the Vorago fight. It is some things which are very important. I will reiterate again. Make sure that you have Auto Retaliate turned off, and make sure that you have access to the Cease ability. That is an ability that is used to stop attacking when we call off for reflects. It is very important that when we call off, you do not actually run away from Vorago, because you will start to take blue bombs because you'll be too far away from Vorago. if you see any parts of the Maul of Omens on the ground throughout the fight, it is very important that you do not pick them up. Or if you see a part of the Maul of Omens in your inventory, you need to drop it, because the fight literally cannot end until the rank whose job it is to make the Maul of Omens has all the parts so they can make it. Now, if you're on the Maul list, the completed Maul will be dropped for you in Phase 5. You do not have to pick up parts along the way, and it is in fact not helpful if you do. So, don't pick up any parts. When it is the appropriate time in Phase 5, the completed mold will be dropped for the person who's on the list, top of the list, to use them all in that kill. Okay. What we'll be doing is we'll be starting in about a minute, so that gives everybody a last chance to gear up and get ready and get to Vorago's face, and also to talk to Vorago and run through all of his dialogue options if you've not done that already. I will type out in group chat who the people doing the achievements are. And yes, Raph, what were you?
Quick question. Forgive me if you already
I mentioned it earlier, but yes, I will mention it again. If you've got a pocket slot item, it must be deactivated. You can wear it for the stats, but it must be deactivated unless it is A, a Scrimshaw, B, a Erethdor's Grimoire, or C, a Scripture of Full. Those are the only exceptions. Oh, there is also one last achievement which you might want to do, which is to do the entire fight without ever using any defensive abilities. Anybody can do this, okay? It's very easy if you're carrying the pet rock, because of course you can't really do anything, so you don't need to do anything. But if you do want that ability, what I will say is that using Cease to stop attacking on Reflect does count as a defensive ability. So you'll need to use a different way to stop yourself from attacking, such as clicking to move off the target, obviously not move too far away. Okay, it looks like the last couple of people are coming over the rocks. Okay, what we will do is in a few seconds I will challenge Vorago. You will get a pop-up box that says, Alsang has challenged Vorago, do you wish to accept? You want to click yes on that pop-up box, and that will allow you to join us when we start the fight.